welcome to episode 81 of Equal Opportunity Crafter Podcast. My name is Juliana, and you can find me on Ravelry and just about anywhere else as Jules Lunder. Hello, crafty friends. I'm right on time. Remember, I said I would do a recording about once a month, and here I am. I'm back. So I was able to keep to the schedule, which is good. Kind of a longer time between podcasts with a few blog posts in between. So that seemed to work out fairly well for me. I got some hair stuck on my face somewhere. Ugh. Okay, we're good. Anyway, so it's been about a month since I've recorded. I thought I'd give you a heads up on what's going on. I even made a list. Check that. I'm good. So first up, let's see. Oh, James, my youngest, who's 5, has discovered the craft room, which is where we are right now. And by discovered the craft room, I mean he's discovered all the little bits and bobs in all the drawers, which he just loves. So he will come down here and he'll take everything out and he'll line things up and take needles and pins and put them all over. And so if I'm ever looking for something, I need to ask James where it is because he will know. He remembers where he puts things. So I lost a little screwdriver thing that takes the needle on and off of the sewing machine and the presser feet and everything. I couldn't find it, and so I finally drew him a little picture of it, and I'm like, James, where is this? You know, and at first he's like, I don't know, and then the next day he brings it to me. So from whence it came, I do not know, but the little man knew where it was. So anyway, that has been a little bit interesting. What else is going on? It's been all about sewing around here. A little bit of knitting actually did get done, so I will show you that. And I'm so close to being finished with this project, so I'll have to talk about that in the knitting segment. But it's really been all about sewing, and I don't know if you can see how much you can see off to the side here. I've got this tabletop, and it's full of fabric, like lined up with all the patterns on top so that I can just work my way down. A while back, I put together some plastic bin type drawers that I just got at Walmart over here, and they're for the works in progress. So there's only 6 drawers, thinking, well, I can only have 6 works in progress. Yeah, well, not so much for the cruise planning, because I have a list of a bunch. In fact, one of the things that I've been working on this last month is called a bullet journal. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's basically a fancy notebook, and it's blank, so if you look inside of it, there's nothing there. This one happens to have dots on the pages. I don't know if you can see if I hold it up real close. There's little dots, like a grid, so it kind of helps you line things up. But anyway, it's meant to be like a planner. Only instead of having set pages and like a layout or whatever, you draw in or write in your own. So this is like a year view with birthdays and everything in there that I just drew in. This is February, so all the days of February are here, and then you write down what is going on that day, or at least the important stuff goes there, and then a random list of brain dump type stuff. And then as you fill out each day, so like for example, here's where I started. It wasn't very pretty, and then it gets prettier and prettier. But each day, when you start making your list of things you need to accomplish that day, or goals or tasks or everything, you can go back to that monthly page and be like, oh yeah, sometime this month I wanted to do that thing. Maybe today's the day I'm going to do it. So then you would write it on your list. Anyway, all that is to say that I've been using this, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I've only been doing it for like 2 weeks maybe, or a week and a half. But one of the items on here is that's related to crafting is I have this 2-page spread with sewing patterns I want. So this used to live on my Pinterest boards, and it's still there. I still have the board on Pinterest, and I still add to it. But as I add to it, I also write it here so that I can, if I'm at Joann's or Hancock's or somewhere, or if I see a sale online on, say, Butterick or whatever, I can look on my list and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to get this Butterick, and it's an unstructured coat. Well, maybe I don't want that one right now. So then I don't worry about buying it right now. So that was kind of cool. Let me think what else. Here's a tracker here at the bottom for Ben's medications and everything. My oldest son has eczema on his leg, and it's really bad. And he just scratches it, and to the point where recently he scratched it so bad that it would start bleeding. And I mean, it was so bad. It looked like claw marks on his leg. He would just scratch it. front and back of both legs, and it's just bloody. I mean, you look at his bed sheet and it looks like someone's been murdered in his bed, but he's just scratching his leg so bad. Anyway, so he's got like open wounds and it got infected because he was with his fingernails, 7-year-old boy, not great. Anyway, and it's really hard to like explain to him you can't scratch it. He's 7 years old, but really with the autism and everything, it's like trying to talk to a 3-year-old, and yeah, he's not going to listen to that. So anyway, we're trying all this new stuff. We went to the doctor. They referred him to the wound clinic. I didn't even know this was a thing, so we're going to go next week, and they're going to talk about wound care and what techniques we need to use to get this thing healed. Because we have a cruise coming up, and can you imagine this kid on a cruise with open wounds on his leg trying to go in the ocean? Salt water? I don't think so. I mean, can you imagine? That would be so painful. Anyway, so that's one of the things we're trying to get done. So I have the tracker in here so I can keep track of when I gave him the antibiotics, when I did this wrap, when I did this particular cream on whatever, just because there's so many things we're trying to keep track of. So all of that is here in the same notebook so I can keep track of it. One of the other things I have is right here, a sewing to-do list, and so these are kind of the random things that I think about where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to make a sewing machine cover eventually, at some point, whenever, but it's on the list so then it can be like out of my mind, out of my brain, and I don't have millions of post-it notes or little note sheets all over the house with notes about, oh yeah, I just thought about this. So it's all right here. I think that's going to work for me. But one of the things I wanted to show you is all of these projects for the cruise are right here at the bottom of that page. I just made a list. So you can see how many there are. That's a lot more than 6 works in progress. Granted, I haven't started them all. They're just piled up here. Like, for example, here's my little stack of these 2 fabrics are going to become pajamas. So I wanted some lighter summer-type pajamas because I did make the flannel and fleece pajama pants for myself I talked about last time, but those are way too warm for a tropical climate. So I thought, well, I'll make another pair of pants, but this time with lighter cotton fabric. So of course it's on my list of things to do, and in fact I can cross something off. You ready with me? We're going to cross off the swim wrap, and I'll show you that in this sewing section. So with all that being said, oh, and I better get back to my show notes so I make sure I get everything. It's right here. I talked about that. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, the only other thing that's going on around here is as part of my service with the church I belong to, I'm the primary president, so I take care of the kids, basically. Well, the adults who take care of the kids. Anyway, and one of the parts of that is our church participates in scouting, in Boy Scouts, and Cub Scouts. So Cub Scouts would fall under my jurisdiction because it's kids under 12. And so with that, one of our Cub leaders' wife is sick and having a baby and like all this drama in his life. And so we just told him, you know what, we'll take care of Cubs for the next month, and then we'll have other people kind of take over it, just to help him out. Because he's not in a place in his life where he can do that. And so I've been doing that. I have no idea what scouting's about. I don't know what goes into it, so I've been reading voraciously everything there is to know. So if you have any suggestions for Cub Scouting in particular, we're dealing with 8-year-olds right now. This is the age group that I'm helping out with. Whew, it's a lot of fun stuff. It sounds really fun, and I think, yeah, I could totally do this. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff because it's overwhelming of all of the different badges they can earn and activities they can do. So anyway, that's another thing that's been taking my time lately. But for now, let's move into the crafting. That is why you're here. So I'll start with knitting, and there's unfortunately not a lot to talk about. There is some planning knitting going on, so that's good. And then after that, I will move into the sewing. So, on to knitting. Okay, so let's talk about knitting. As mentioned, not a whole lot got done this month, although I am so close to finishing these socks, you guys. In fact, they are off the needles for now. Well, for now. Because I finished the second sock, but I need to go back and put in the heel. So I don't know if you can see where that kind of brown line is across the teal. That's where the afterthought, or I guess forethought, since I thought about it in advance, heel is going to go. This is what the finished sock looks like, and this is the almost finished sock. It just needs the heel. So maybe tonight, if I can work myself up to it, I could just finish it tonight while we're watching something. It's just this little section. So I'll pick up and go around, and it's just a basic heel. I don't think there's like a name for it. You just decrease and bind off. It's like a toe, basically. Except on the edges, you can see it kind of juts out a little bit. I did a few little short rows just to make it a little bit looser right in that section. So like if you think about it, this is the part that goes right across the top of your foot, and in these kind of heels they tend to be a bit tight. So by doing that little bit of a short rows on the two sides, it gives it just a little bit extra room to make it around that circumference. So I think that'll be great. The one that's finished fits my husband just fine, perfect, wonderful. And so I just have one more to go with the heel, and I will be finished. So I have this much yarn left to do the toe, or not the toe, the heel, which is kind of like a toe. So I've got plenty, and it'll be perfect. Now I'm going to try to match the colors like I did with this. So I started the toe at the same spot and finished it at the same spot, so they're matchy socks exactly, which I'm super excited about. Anyway, so that's really exciting. Review of what this is. It's my own made up pattern. I did toe up, so I cast on 12 on each needle, so 24 altogether, and then worked up until I had 72 stitches all around, and then worked in a 3x1 rib, so knit 3 purl 1 across the top of the foot. So this is the top of the foot, and that's got the ribbing. The bottom is smooth stockinette. But then after the heel separation, I gave it about an inch, and then I started the 3x1 rib all the way up the leg to the end. And they used to be longer. Originally, when I made these, the leg was as long as the toe. But if you'll remember, I made them too skinny. I did a 64-inch circumference, and they were too tight. So when I went up to the 72-inch, to the same length of yarn, you can see I'm about an inch and a half short. So it's a little bit shorter on his leg than he would like, but that's too bad, because this is what he's gonna get. I started these last year for his birthday, which is in May. So I started it in end of March or April or something. So it's coming up on almost a year that I've been working on these stinking socks. So you know what? He's gonna be happy with whatever they end up being, and that's okay. I better put these needles away before I lose them. Anyway, so I did mention I've got some kind of dream knitting going on, or planning knitting. With the cruise coming up, of course, I have to take knitting, right? It's a 5-hour flight to Florida and a 5-hour flight back, and then we're going to be on the cruise ship and all kinds of other stuff we're going to be doing, and so I figured knitting is necessary, right? So I've got a couple ideas, and I didn't bring any way to show you, but on Ravelry there's a pattern called is it called the Age of Brass and Steam? It's like a very basic triangular shawl or neck, wrap type thing. It's triangular, and it's got some like segments of stockinette and then segments of just eyelet, sections, and then I keep going or whatever, and it's fingering weight yarn, so I thought that would be super easy. You just kind of pick it up and go and leave it wherever it is. There's one section or one version I saw that someone made that had beads along the openwork section, and I was like, oh yeah, I want that. But I'm trying to decide if I dare do that kind of beading while on vacation. Like, is that a bad idea? Maybe it's not. Maybe I'll be okay with that. And then two, I thought, if that's going to be one project and it's going to have beading, then I better have one that's just mindless, or at least not beading, right? So then I thought maybe socks. If I can finish these socks, then I can cast on some other socks, maybe this time for myself. And so then I'm kind of exploring ideas on sock patterns. So if you guys have any suggestions on good sock patterns, probably not plain stockinette, I don't know, something awesome. I'm actually wearing knitted socks today. Maybe I should show you. These are, I don't know if you can see them, Patton's Croy sock. They're stripy. They're for myself. And they're not very tall either. I think that's a problem I have, is that I don't make very tall socks. I don't know what the solution is to that. I think when I do toe up socks, I like it because then I am guaranteed that it fits my foot. But my concern with that is that then my leg isn't as long, or I freak out and I think, oh, I'm not going to have enough yarn for my second sock, I better stop here. So maybe the solution is to either buy 2 separate balls, 250-gram balls of yarn, so that I know that they're the same amount of yarn, or separate a 100-gram skein so that I know I still have yarn left. And on all these socks I've done afterthought heels, or forethought heels or whatever, but the heels happen after, and then I'm always nervous that I'm not going to have enough yarn for the toe, for the heel. So I need to look into, I still like the idea of toe-up socks, but I'm sure there are, like, as-you-go heels. I haven't done them because I think every sock I've ever made is striped. No, I did make one that wasn't, well, I think it was striped, but it was top-down. I don't remember. But anyway, so that's one of the things I'm thinking about, is socks that would be easy enough to do while on vacation. So shout out some ideas if you've got any. But that's all the knitting I have going on. I'm waiting until I finish these socks, and then I think for sure I'm going to do the shawl. I'm just trying to decide if I want beads or not. And so I think I'm going to treat myself to some fancy yarn. I'll go down to the local yarn shop and look around and pick something really nice, maybe some Madeline Tosh or some Dreaming Color or something really pretty, just as a treat, because I can, right? It's so decadent, like you're already going on vacation and now you're using some decadent yarn, maybe something with cashmere or something. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, right? But why not? Why not? If not while on vacation, then when? So those are the thoughts I'm having about planning knitting. So now let's move on to sewing. So let's talk about sewing. A lot's been happening, a lot of planning's been happening, a lot of finished objects have been happening, but then there's so many more on my list. It's like every time I turn around there's more on my list. I don't know, I keep doing this to myself and it's a little bit ridiculous. We're at crunch time. We are, oh my goodness, exactly 1 month. Oh, hang on, I need to take a breath. 1 month from vacation day. So I've got 1 month to get this done, get all of these things done. So let me show you what I have finished, and then maybe I'll chat a little bit about what's coming up next. So I'm gonna turn around here and pick up my pile of FOs that I left in here. These are my FOs. Look, I've got clothes. Isn't that kind of like ridiculous? It's still ridiculous to me that like I can take fabric and make an item of clothing. That just, I don't know, it just seems so crazy like that I made that. That's kind of cool. So this first one I'll show you has, I'm sorry, the stripe just kind of makes my eyes cross if I look at it too long. But it's a boat neck t-shirt basically. It's some knit fabric, so it's stretchy. I think if I were to make this again, and I probably will because I got it to fit, which is kind of hard, that I would add a little bit to the shoulders so it's not so wide. Just, I think my shoulders aren't as wide as the pattern calls for, basically. So I think if I added another maybe ½ inch on each side, that would be perfect. And I might try it. I like the slight V of the front, but I think I might try maybe a scoop variation, look at other patterns and just borrow the neckline. It's got the 3/4 length sleeves. They fall just right past my elbow, so it's really perfect. Very nautical, right? Perfect for a cruise. I love it. So that turned out great. By the way, that was, let me see, McCall's 65, well, I didn't even write it down right. I just wrote down 657. There's usually 4 numbers for the sewing pattern, so you'll have to check out the blog. I'll put it in the show notes at equalopportunitycrafter.com, and I'll link to the blog post I did with my review of the pattern and everything and what I did to make it fit, because it took a little bit of finagling to get the everything to fit. So anyway, there's that. Let's see. These dark brown shorts were actually the very first cruise item I made. There's a little piece of something on there. And it's kind of an interesting, almost like a trouser shorts, I don't know. It's got pockets, so it's kind of slash pockets. I used some really cool lining. This is the lining from the leather jacket that I've yet to work on again. But anyway, I had some left over, and it's kind of this brown with a reddish cast to it. So it's not really a color in the color scheme for the cruise. Although, I mean, brown, it's going to go with everything, right? The reason I made it out of this is because I had this in my stash. And I thought, since it was the first shorts that I had made, or pants or whatever, for a while, I thought maybe I'd better try it and see what my fit issues are with this. So it's got the zip in the back. It's an invisible zip, if you can see there. Boop. And some little hook and eye type closure. It's got a couple little pockets in the back. So this works out really great. They are short, so I would probably only really use them like as we're going to the beach or whatever. But I haven't decided if I will end up taking these because they're not in my color scheme, or if I care enough about that. And that was McCall's 6930. This next one I am really proud of, this one, you guys. So this is a cotton eyelet. Well, they called it an eyelet, but if you look at it real close, it's really just embroidered cotton, basically. And so I made a little woven t-shirt from it. It's so cute. And it's a raglan shaping to the sleeves, and there's a little button, you know, and a little hook there, and it is great. I'm so proud of this because I feel like the finishing work on this, like all the seams and the stitching and everything, are pretty much as perfect as I could get it, honestly. I mean, I have never sewn a garment that was finished this nicely, so I kind of pat myself on the back about that. One of the fitting changes I did, because I wanted it to fit very snug and shaped. I don't know if you can see that side seam. It really kind of comes in and then back out. I probably didn't need to go that far out from my hips. In fact, I could have. My hips aren't as wide as I think they are in my head. And I added an invisible zip on the side seam so I could get in and out of it. And I thought, yeah, that was brilliant. I'm a genius. I'm amazing. And then the other day when Troy took pictures of me in it, you know, it'd been like a week since I did it, and I went to put it on and I just slipped it over my head, forgetting that there was an invisible zip, and it fit just fine. I didn't need the zipper. So all this like planning in my head of, oh yeah, and then I'm gonna put the zipper in, it'll be great, it'll be awesome. I didn't need to do that. But it was good for me to learn that, because this fits so nicely that I think what I'm gonna do, I have some fabric here that I bought. It's kind of a navy and white floral type, very light cotton print. Thinking I'd make another kind of tee. Sure, I hadn't decided what pattern, but maybe I'll do this pattern. It'll look completely different because of the fabric. And then I thought maybe I'll, instead of having this opening on the raglan, since that's fairly distinctive to the pattern, is I would just close it up all the way and maybe reshape the neckline so it's maybe a little bit of a V, or a, you know, a scooped or something, and then it'd kind of look like a completely different shirt, basically, because it'd be in a completely different fabric. Maybe narrow the hips just a scooch, which is really the only thing that I would do here, is just maybe take ½ inch off of each hip and not have to do the zip. So the pattern would be basically done. I wouldn't have to worry about fitting it or anything, and it would basically look like a different top. So I might be doing that. The other thing I might do with that one is, instead of just folding under the hem, like at the bottom or on the sleeves, the pattern actually calls for bias binding, and then you fold it under, so you still don't see the bias binding from the outside. So I might do that, or I might do it backwards and do it from the inside out, so then there's like a colored band, a solid band around the neckline and around the arms and around the bottom. I haven't decided if I want to do that or not, but these are some options that I could do with this pattern, and the pattern's, like I said, it's already fitted, which is like the hardest part, so it's kind of done. Maybe I'll just do that, because that would be really a quick sew. And this, by the way, was New Look 6147. It is out of print, but, you know, I found it like at a thrift store or somewhere, and I'm sure you could find it online if you wanted that one. The next one is another pair of shorts that I made, and did I write down what this was? No, I did not. Well, these are shorts. This is actually a stretch denim. It's a slight stretch. I think it was 2% spandex in this, and I did the jeans button, you know, the denim jeans button, and it's pretty cool. Like, it fits really well. It did take some fitting work. I wanted the legs to be a bit tighter than the pattern, what it called for. It actually called for it to kind of be a straight leg, but it seemed, I don't know, maybe it's because the style now is kind of skinny jeans or fitted. So I cut off it was almost 2 inches at the knee, basically, because it goes to the knee, and kind of tapered it in. But yeah, those fit really nicely. They've got kind of curved pockets. I'm not crazy happy with my fly, especially this top part. I might still unpick it and just press it out a little bit better and sew it, but maybe not. Maybe I don't care enough to do that. But yeah, that turned out really nice, and I didn't write down, I'm looking around to see if I have the pattern somewhere, but no, I didn't write down the pattern number on that, but like I said, that will be on the blog for the show notes, and I'll link to the post I did for that. The last finished object I have for the month is another pair of shorts. Woo, woo, woo. This time in tan. And this was some stash fabric I had lying around. I don't know if I bought the fabric. I'm pretty sure I bought this fabric, but it's going to have to be like 5 years ago. It's been in the stash for a while. And I've been meaning to make kind of casual capri pants with them, but I wasn't feeling capri pants, so I made shorts out of them. And so you can see they kind of have this paper bag, I guess is what they call it, paper bag waistline. So there's an elastic in there, and then it scrunches it up, and there's a little bit extra fabric at the top. So I like the look of these better worn with a shirt tucked in versus out, because I feel with it out, it kind of adds that bulk to my waistline, whereas if it's tucked in, you don't really know. I mean, you can see that this is there, so it doesn't look as bulky. I didn't have any twill tape on hand, so I made these ties out of just self fabric, and I think I'm just going to leave these as they are. One thing I am not super happy about is the placement of the buttonholes for those ties. They seem a little bit low. I follow the pattern, but I think I must have changed something or cut this out wrong, the width of it, because the placement of it is too low. It should be up maybe another 3/8 of an inch or something. I think if I were to make these again, and I might make another pair of these, I won't use the ties. So I'll just do the elastic waistband, and that's it. Oh, we're going to have a visitor today. Hello?
Oops, it's Mom.
Who's that? It's Jimbo. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Who's that? Are you going to come say hi to the camera? Oh, can you come sit on my lap? Oh, goodness, who's that cute face? Can we say hi to our friends?
Was it crib in the sewing room?
We're in the sewing room, yeah.
Was he at the same sewing room?
James is in the sewing room, what?
And a big walk into the sewing room?
Did you walk into the sewing room?
And a big white walk into the sewing room?
You need a white rocking chair in the sewing room?
Nope.
Nope.
That has sewing took.
Okay, can we say bye for a minute and Mom will come back and finish?
Bye.
Okay, bye. Well, James is taken care of now. Apparently he needed a graham cracker, as one does. He's just been upstairs playing in the toy room, and I thought, oh, I've got a minute to record, and he won't even know, but he figured it out. He's pretty smart. Anyway, so those shorts, let me see if I wrote down which one these are. Simplicity 3796. So they were meant to be kind of mid-calf, or maybe just past the knee capris, but I cut them off at the knee, and they are great. I really like them. I think they're gonna be perfect for what I wanted. Some casual shorts that kind of go with everything, of course, because they're in the color scheme. The last thing that's an FO I actually finished today, which is super exciting. So I have my little note to show you what I did. This is actually a note for myself, but so I used this fabric. It's kind of a chiffon-y kind of thing. You can see through it, definitely. But I wanted to make a swimsuit wrap or beach cover-up type thing, but I was trying to figure out the best finish for the edge. I have a rolled hem presser foot for my sewing machine, and what it's meant to do is, and I'm going to bring it up real close, is finish the edge like this, so that on the inside it's just finished nicely. But the problem is, that's like the little patch that worked, that looked nice. And the rest of it, here's the inside, kind of, it didn't catch right, and I've never been able to make a rolled hem look good on my sewing machine. I have never gotten it to work with that presser foot. So it's frustrating to no end because I'm like, oh, that would be perfect because you just feed it in, it rolls it twice, and then it sews it in one pass, and it'd be like, done. Well, that didn't work. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll try a rolled hem on the serger. But when you do that, you have the thread is visible. This is not a rolled hem here, but this is just a serged edge. But you can see that the thread is visible, and I didn't want that. And so I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I had this serged edge, and I thought, well, maybe if I double folded it, well, at first I tried to single fold it, and then I could see the serging on the back, and I didn't like it because the fabric is so sheer, I didn't want to see through it. So what I ended up doing, I don't know if you can see that hem there, it's a little bit wider than that narrow rolled hem. Here's the back side of it. So what I did is I serged the end, and then I double folded it and sewed down. And because it was serged, I probably didn't need to serge, but the reason I did mostly was because it kind of gave me a measurement. So it gave me about 1/4 of an inch of the thread, of the sewing thread, so it looked like this, right? You could see it. And so it gave me a very clear place to fold and then fold again. And so I didn't even iron it or anything. I pinned the first little bit, and then as I went, I would stop every, inch or 2 or 3, and then fold the next little bit and feed it through and fold the next little bit. So, I mean, it was a little bit tedious, but it didn't take that long. I completed all of the sewing on this thing today. I had cut it out the other day, last week maybe. So here it is. This is the finished product, and I'll show you because this is pretty fancy, I think. So here's what it looks like. It's one big piece. The pattern, which is, not there, right here, Butterick 4526. So it's the swim wrap. And there's 2 lengths to it, but what I ended up doing is the pattern piece actually comes, of course, as the half of the pattern piece. And then at the bottom it says attach the rest of the pattern here. So apparently it didn't fit on the sheet, and they wanted you to add more length. I didn't. I just used that length as it was because it was plenty long enough for what I wanted. And then one edge was supposed to be the center back, and they wanted you to cut it and then sew it together. So you would have a seam going down the back that you would finish maybe like as a French seam or something. I didn't want that either, so I just put it on a fold. So you can see there's no seam on the back. There's 2 darts on the sides right here, and then the edges are finished. And so it's sheer-ish, you can see through it. But here's how you wear it. You can either wear it as a wrap around your waist, of course. So you would, run this around. Oh, I got the kid yelling at me. Hang on. Oh. So you would wrap it. And of course, on camera, I can't figure it out. So something like this. And then you would tie it. So you would have, just the bottom half of you figured out. Let me see if I can angle it down so you can see, maybe not. Something like that. All right. Well, that was a little bit dangerous. Okay. Or, and what I like is the or, because you can do either. You just pull it up high and wrap it up and around your neck, like so. And then tie it. So it ends up being, kind of more of a top, or it's kind of a mini skirt on me here at this length. If I would have made it longer, of course, it would have been longer. But right now it comes to maybe mid-thigh on me, which I think is cool, but it kind of, for the beach or for whatever, this is perfect. I'm so excited about it. It's so cool. I think it turned out really well. If I were to make another one, which I don't know that I will, I do have fabric for another one, but I don't know if I'm going to. I'd probably make the tie a little bit longer, just because I would prefer to tie it on my side, and it seems like one of them is shorter, so either I'd make one longer and always tie it, say, on the left and make the left one longer, or I would make both of them longer or something. Or maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. But I love it. And I love this fabric so much. It's so, like, this is me. It's a little bit ridiculous, right? But I love it. I can't stand how much I love it. And so I have enough left that I think what I'm going to do is make an infinity scarf. So basically like a tube. Just make a tube that you connect. So it's just a big tube. And you can just drape it around your neck twice. So it would look, kind of something like this. And I would be able to have it around my neck. Be like a cool summer scarfy type thing because it's just chiffon or whatever this is, and wouldn't that be awesome? And then I could wear it all the time. Yo, yo. So that was a very happy FO. I'm very happy with this. And because of all the crazy colors, it will go with everything. So I'm very excited about that. Those are all the FOs. That is a lot of FOs, but you guys, that is not even close to my list. So that was, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 FOs. But according to my For the Cruise sewing list, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 if I do the infinity scarf, 11 more items to go. So that's going to keep me a little bit busy. Just a little bit. That's a lot of stuff to do. And so I'm not sure how much I'm going to get done. I think for sure next up has to be the jeans, because I think that's going to take me a little bit of time to get these done. So these are going to be the probably ankle length. This is the wrong side of the fabric. Here's the right side of the fabric. It's kind of this aqua tealy color, and that'll be pretty fabulous. So I want to do skinny jeans that are probably just above the ankle a little bit. I think that'll be perfect. So that's probably next. Maybe the pajamas because they're so easy. But I mean, worst case scenario, I wear pajamas I have. So maybe not so much that one. I am test sewing a pattern. I'm not quite sure why I signed up to do it other than the pattern was awesome. And she's like, I'm calling for testers. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But it needs to be done within the next 2 weeks. So this probably will get done first. So then I can just focus on everything. It's called the Nita Wrap Skirt by Sew DIY. So here's the front of the pattern. And so it is what it professes to be. It is a wrap skirt. It's got 3 different lengths, so you can do, she calls it the mini length, the midi length, and the maxi length. And I think I'm going to do the midi length, so it's just at the knee or just past the knee. So here's the 30 pages of the pattern that I printed off. The cool thing, I will say, the cool thing about this pattern is that the PDF has layers, so you can go in on Adobe Reader and just pick the one size you want. My sizing is a little weird where my waist is one size and my hips are another size. So I actually put 3 sizes here, kind of the 3 of them, so I could grade it out and figure out exactly what fit I want. But I'll show you real quick the fabric I got for this. The lining is just dark brown. But this is the outside fabric. This is the wrong side, so let me find you the right side. It's a faux suede with this kind of punched, I don't know, arrows maybe you would call them. So that's going to be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And so of course I had to line this because it's got the punched V's in it. So I thought the dark brown, when I held it up together, it looked really good because I mean, you could really tell the V shape. Here, let me try to hold this up for you so you can kind of see. That's going to look pretty awesome. I think the arrows, well, I guess they face down or up, it doesn't matter, but I'll just have to pick the direction of the nap that I want. I'll have to experiment with that. But hopefully that won't be too difficult of a pattern. Where it's a wrap, I should be able to pick the size that's closest, and then when I go to place the button for the closure, that's when I can really finesse the fit. So hopefully that won't be too bad of a sew, and it'll be done quickly so I can get her back her feedback on that testing and get on with the other things. Of course, I think swimsuits are going to have to come next too. I have this really awesome fabric. Isn't that so cool? Kind of a hibiscus, I guess you would call it, blue and white. So that one needs to get done, and I've got 2 other navies. I have a red swimsuit spandex fabric that I bought forever ago, meaning to make a swimsuit. And red isn't really in the color scheme, but I haven't found coral anywhere. But I think red would go with this, yeah? This will go with anything. This is awesome. So that's what's going on around here. A lot of sewing, basically, is what's going on here. Lists and more lists about what we need to get for the boys. James needs sandals, you know, like all these things that, and then I'm thinking, what do I want to take on a carry-on, because we're not doing checked luggage, and yeah, so all of that, just trying to figure it out 1 month. It's go time. So what I'm going to try to do, this is the plan, get as much done as I can, obviously, but I'm going to try to record before we leave. Probably that week before we leave. And I would hope that just about everything is finished, so I'll have a lot to show you. The socks should be finished, and then I should have my new projects to take with me on the cruise if I haven't worked on anything else. I have plenty of whips already started, so I might need to sit down and take a look at what's already on the needles, and maybe there's stuff I can finish up. Like, I know I have a cardigan that just needs one sleeve. I mean, really, it needs one sleeve. I should just do that, right? Come on. But where I'm focusing all my energy on sewing, by the time I get to the end of the day, I'm just like, nah, I'll just read a book. So that's what's going on around here. Let me know what you guys are working on. I have been kind of trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing out in Blogland and out in Ravelry and everything. But it's always good to hear from you guys. And I will catch up with you in one more month. Bye.